Hey everyone, welcome back. This is the Season 8 Week 4 recap. We're coming at you live from here. I don't know where we are. Digri, where have you taken us?
Look, I put it on autopilot and then I got up to get a soda and everything went black. It's a good thing all of our stuff landed right side up and ready to record.
That's true, everything did
There's a
survive the
weird
crash.
door back there though. I don't know
Yeah,
anything about that.
I'm concerned, but we can just go through it later. Why did you have to get up to get a soda when we have our drinks right here?
Autopilot, it doesn't involve me. I just turn it
Okay,
on and then I'm supposed to be able to go away. Look, we were so close to getting back home to our studio, but unfortunately we're coming at you from somewhere we don't know.
that's fine. Well, for now, we've got 4 games for you this week. I believe it's 1 quick ball, 3 in timer.
That sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for following up on our request of giving us better games for better content. Phenomenal set of games this week, I have to say.
Yeah, players like they understood the assignment. There were some really great games, and we weren't able to cover them all. Actually,
Yeah, well,
spoiler alert: we weren't able to cover Mirror Coat Swampert, which is made me really sad that we didn't.
Rindoberry, Mirrorcoat, Swampert,
Yeah,
and another one being Synchronize Vaporeon into the Rain team, specifically Urshifu. So a couple shoutouts there from games that we just couldn't quite cover, but had some really cool tech for you to keep in mind for awards and in your hearts because they were sick. Go rewatch those games if you haven't seen them.
yeah, yeah. Sorry we couldn't cover them.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the games we could cover this week, starting with Quickball.
Yep, let's do it.
So, we have our first game this week. It's going to be Sucrêve versus PokéParty. We have Amaryllis's Darkrai in the second slot as a slightly misordered team, and we have Plastic's Cresselia not here at all, but ordered, so we'll take it.
Oh, I'm so angry. Order the teams. I'm
Um, but
joking. It's not that big a deal.
But yeah, Cresselia is out this week. I think that makes a lot of sense. You've got 2 Levitating Psychics on Plastic's team between that and the Mega Latios. And just looking at the top 2, plus Caesar, yeah.
Top three.
Oh, yeah, sorry, top 3.
Yeah, I think definitely didn't want to. I don't think it wanted to leave both because then you're leaving a lot of literal stats on the bench. You know,
Mhm.
Cresselia is base 600, Megalodios is base 700. That is a lot of your team stats. And while the typing itself, like of Psychic Dragon, isn't that much better, you are. It's helpful. Like you're resisting Entei's fire. It is at least got something to offensively threaten the Dragapult. It has coverage for things like Darkrai and Scizor. Um, yeah, I think if you're relieving one of your Psychic types, it makes a lot of sense to leave the Cresselia and keep the Latios, and then the Cresselia bench opens up something fun from your C tier, which is what we see. I think
Yeah.
Durant's a great bring, really good bring this week.
Oh, for sure. No, I love Durant here. I'm very excited to see it play this week. But yeah, I think the choice between the 2 Psychics is just, do you want a more offensive pick? Do you want a more defensive pick? And here we're seeing Plastic is going with the strategy of beating you to death. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes. I think this might be Porygon's first game, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is first.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Welcome back, Porygon 2. Should have put up a trigger warning for Porygon 2 mention.
That's okay. I'll live. This is actually Plastic's only third batch because the very first week was
Right,
Friend Ball.
Friend
So
Ball.
I don't remember if Porygon came to Friend Ball or not.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's here. On Ven or not Ven. I'm so sorry. On Amaryllis' side, we see very scary Pokemon. I see a notable absence. This is the first time we're not seeing the very scary Iron Leaves. Yeah. Where is it?
I feel like the thing about Iron Leaves is that it has a lot of really good utility, and it has the speed to back it up thanks to booster energy, but its utility is kind of specific, it's if you want to do coaching strats or you want to block a fake out with quick guard and things like that. It's like weird moves that have a place, but maybe not at every game. If you were really worried about, like Brave Bird, Talonflame with Gale Wings, you could block that with quick guard, but I think not bringing it just means she couldn't find a place for its utility over whatever Dunsparce is going to do this game.
Yeah. I mean, what without I don't really remember what Dunsparce does specifically, but just thinking about it and like its archetype, um, it's kind of a trick room Pokemon, right? Like maybe this is a scout saying. Actually, I don't know if like Hoser can even. Or, what is wrong with my brain today? I can't think of names. But Plastic does Plastic even set? Yeah, they have Porygon too, so they can set Trick Room. Do you think that this was a potential like contingency for that coin up because the rest of the team is pretty fast?
No, I think because this Dunsparce is packing Glare.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't think it's for that. I think it might just be utility, speed control, supportive. The first time we saw it, it was a lot more aggressive with Boom Burst. This game, it's a little bit different. So I assume it was just didn't like Leaves, liked this more, something like that. So I think it's fine.
Fair enough. I mean, the rest of the team is very scary.
Mhm.
Glare's like good supplemental speed control. I know that like there's Tailwind available on the Scizor. Um,
And on the
I
Dunsparce if you want it.
Oh, true. And I think that Sableye can get Thunder Wave, so there's several options for good
Mhm.
good speed control here.
Yeah.
Plastic has three potential Tailwinders. I was not counting Latios.
True.
And then there's always the threat of Trick Room on the Porygon.
Right. Yeah, no, a lot of potential speed control here. I think we're good to get started then.
Yeah, I was looking through Marilis' team and really didn't see too much like on the bench that I thought would be good to bring here. So I think all in all, good calls. And
Yeah.
we already talked about Plastic, so yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
The speed's is slow. There we go. We're back in it. I feel like the slow speed is slightly annoying for the leads, but I like it for everything else. It's just a
Yeah,
little
it builds
awkward.
suspense. What are these
That's
leads going to
okay.
be?
Well, we've got Dragapult
Um,
to Dunsparce and the Durant Talonflame lead. Immediate Tailwind and Hone Claws
Hone
setting up.
Claws.
That
I
is
like that.
to offset the hustle.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way this thing is truant, right?
No, I think it gets another. It gets Swarm. So,
Oh.
but
Well,
it's
yeah, the
not gonna
hustle
Swarm.
is.
It's just gonna blow up Sableye instantaneously.
Yeah, now we have a very scary ant.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sableye died.
And so
Guess
did the
what?
Dunsparce.
The Dunsparce died.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's the attack boost, but I mean, already this thing has just put a huge dent in Marilis' team for the 2-for-1 trade, and lets Porygon 2 safely get up a substitute. Also, it got
yeah,
the
this
special attack boost from download, so
this substitute is one of the main reasons I think we wanted to talk about this match. This is
it
such a
is.
cool play.
We'll talk about it like specifically in a second, but yeah. In general,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
with the special attack boost, it just one-taps Dragapult.
I'm regaining a lot of fear and contempt for this Pokemon that I like. It has subsided over a couple years really, and now it's back. Watching Dragon Ball go down like that.
Yeah. Good double into the Ogerpon. Wouldn't have killed without Sludge Bomb poison. I think this is the second time we've seen something live on like 4 and then die to Sludge Bomb poison damage. Just slightly
Scizor
funny.
takes that really well.
Yeah. It won't next
one that
time
doesn't have
because of the Spidef
the
drop.
most. Yeah, the Spidef drop is really nice. That was like both sides got kind of a lucky proc there.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to lead to, well, it forces a switch versus a death, but yeah. Another paralyzed Talonflame doesn't care, comes back into Tailwind, takes the Dark Pulse.
It does, and Shadow Ball doing reasonable chip. And wow, another special defense drop. This Pokemon that can't be stopped. Please put it in S tier. I'm joking. I'm in charge now, and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, Dark Pulse gonna break the substitute. I'm gonna pause there. Part of, I mean, just something I kind of realized in rewatching the thing is substitute kind of didn't make sense to me initially, and then I forgot Dark Void gets blocked by substitute. So, I mean, I don't know exactly if that was Plastic's logic. I have to assume so, but getting the substitute up before Darkrai comes in to confirm that there is this very consistent Pokemon that can always deal good damage with, like, you know, the Ice Beam we saw, the Shadow Ball, and just sit there and not get slept and just be a nuisance.
Yeah. Porygon did a lot of work this week between just setting up it makes the Dark Void, which she could have still clicked it and gotten one Pokemon to sleep, most likely. But
well, 50-50 at this point, no gravity up.
Yeah, no gravity up. Is it really 50? I thought it was a little higher, like 60.
No, it's a 50% chance.
Huh.
I'll
Well,
pull it up, but yeah, 50%.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the Porygon, you know, it threatens, or it's sort of posturing it in a way that makes it harder for that move to be clicked at all. Because like you said, less chance of value. It's killed at least one thing, two things. I think the Dragapult, Plastic talked to me after the match quickly and said that the Dragapult kill was also like a hard read apparently. We kind of brushed by it when it happened, but I think that was a switch in when the Dragapult died.
Let's see it. Let me see. Oh yeah, it was Entei switches out for the Dragon Ball. Oh, it just gets Shadow Balled on the way in.
Yeah.
To be fair, you wouldn't Ice Beam that slot, and actually Ice Beam would have killed, so just attacking the slot in general, but that is pretty nice to
Yeah.
catch it on the way in. So
if you want to call it like a hedged call, because it's still a
yeah.
good, but yeah, he told me after the match that was what he had expected to come in.
Yeah. I think in general, download's really interesting. Whenever I see a Pokemon
I would
with
call it interesting.
I call it interesting. With a Pokemon like
It's frustrating.
Porygon 2, you kind of know it prefers to go special. So when I encounter that sort of thing, I try to spec my team defensively, assuming, you know, I don't have like a Mega Aggron that's just going to make it impossible. So that, you know, regardless of who I have on the field, it's always going to go into the wrong stat. Gets a little bit harder with Genesect because it can go either way. But you can manipulate the download boost as the, you know, person fighting the download user if you're worried about it with your EV spread.
I know. And I said this years ago. I just think it's a frustrating amount of prep to have to go into a B tier in this case. Other Pokemon get download for sure, but
Oh yeah, no. I bring it up because it's a fun thing you can do, and you know, if you're
yeah,
afraid
you
of
don't have to care
Porygon
about
2
it.
jump scare, yeah. But we'll start back up. Porygon 2's done its job. It's going home so that it doesn't get earthquaked. Crit onto the Entei. I don't know if that mattered.
I think it might have. I mean,
It
Entei's
might
pretty
have.
bulky, and I don't think that. Well, I think Gliscor's good attack stat, and this thing looks to be offensively natured.
Yeah.
I mean, that also did a lot to the Scizor.
Mm-hmm.
Scissor's trying to set up. This week it's running in Curse instead of Swords Dance. Why do you think that is? Like, just the
That could be
plus
Trick
one
Room
defense?
Contingency.
It could be, yeah. The plus
think
one defense
Caesar's-
is kind of nice as well, I guess.
Helpful. Yeah. I mean, it depends what you're worried about from Plastic's side, but it is nice
Probably
to have.
Ogerpon.
I mean, even Talonflame.
I guess it probably lives. It probably does live after that.
Talonflame's not that physically strong.
I always think I think it's stronger because I've never used this Pokemon. But yeah. Nice
Yeah.
closing out though. Like I felt like the momentum felt pretty strongly in Plastic's hands that game. There were a couple lucky Spidef drops that made it harder for Amaryllis to come back because she kept just having to switch that out. Lost a lot of chip that way. But overall, like very, very good prep into the Darkrai. I think it was carrying Dark Void this week, but just we never saw it clicked.
Yeah. No, I think it was just a cool game. I really like the tech on the Porygon. I like seeing Durant pop off in general. Yeah, I think it was just there was just kind of honestly the Durant just created like so much space to work with. You don't have to worry about Sableye for the rest of the game, you know, slowing things down or fighting for speed control. And
Yeah.
there were two Talonflame Tailwinds. Talonflame survived the first turn, I think, without taking damage. I think it got glared that turn instead of attacked, which means that you can always get Tailwind up later because you still have Gale Wings online. So, all in all,
I think that the turn
ahead.
one really set the momentum for like the whole game. To be honest,
Yeah,
it mattered a lot.
yeah,
Obviously, you can always come back from a turn one. Like I'm never going to sit here and say that turn one loses a game, but I think that this turn one in particular at least put a very strong, you know, favoring on this game.
yeah.
Like setting up the Durant, getting Tailwind off, and coming out of it with full health for later. And then we see Durant kill 2 is pretty extraordinary.
For sure. Yeah, we saw the Dragapult protect there, which is pretty scary. Just because a defensive play in front of something like this where it's just going to Tailwind is... I don't know. What are you afraid of in that situation? Does Durant get a Dark move or something?
I would imagine, maybe. I didn't look.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I
I
guess
think Dragon Ball has enough weaknesses that you'd be afraid of it.
I think the only thing
Without
would be a
looking.
dark move, but yeah, no, it makes sense. I get it. It's just one of those things where you have to be careful of, just a turn like this where it's like, oh, they're just hard committing to the setup. Goodbye. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the turn one was brutal, and then Porygon 2 really pulled its weight, and then everything else was just tough from there. So I think that's it for this game, at least for me. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, I think we're good. We can move on.
Cool.
Good game.
Yeah, good game. So we have our second game here, first of the timer matches this week. This is Sword Dad Show versus the Golden Gods. We're covering Diggory again. Full disclosure, I actually wanted to cover this match because I think it's really cool. Diggory did not hold me at gunpoint this time.
I really didn't. I understand why we need to cover this match because it was a good match. I just like feel bad covering it after covering myself last week, which was like not a worthy match to be covered.
We probably could have just not covered your week 1 video, but that video is like truly awful, so that's okay. No one watched it.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Anyway, why is my sprite gone?
Why is your sprite gone? That's on you.
I always make sure that the sprite is there.
Well, clearly not this week.
Damn.
On the other side, we have Hatsune Miku, and bringing Pikachu this week instead of Comfey. You said that Techno told you a bit about why the rat is here.
I mean, maybe not to like say this was the only reason, but he definitely said it was there for the fake out and the follow me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the rest of what it was doing was just trying to help Garchomp kill things and then die, probably,
Yeah, it's not like it's like Lightning Rod or something, because besides like Goldango Thunderbolt, it's not really that common on your team. And I guess if you really wanted to Thunderbolt the Suicune, but
I
that's
think
crazy.
you'd rather run static if you're running follow me.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, it's not like a reason you would bring it here was for Lightning Rod.
I see. Yeah, I don't have an electric type at all.
You have Bolt Strike.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah, which ignores abilities in the first place, so that wouldn't even work. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the only thing there. Other than that, we've got the Garchomp, which has been historically scary. We've got the top 3 who are legally required to be here. You know how it is.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I was about to call out Techno for having Garchomp out of order, but that's in order. That's just a B tier menace.
I do think it was so funny to me that he was like really worried about Garchomp getting sniped, and then he was like unconcerned about his B tier fire types getting sniped, from what I remember. And then like there was the great.
I think
reckoning.
He was in the same boat as a lot of us, where there were just a lot of B tier fire types that were physical, and I mean, even if you wanted one with Intimidate, there were still a lot of them.
Fair, and they were all gone.
So,
yeah,
I think the Garchomp is a little less replaceable.
I
agree.
agree.
I think he was this Tauros was not even on his list, but I think he's enjoying it. I mean, he probably still would rather have Arcanine, but like this Tauros is doing well.
No, it's been pretty good. But anyway, looking at the other side, it's your team, so tell me about it. You left a couple guys behind out of B tier.
Yeah, I did. I brought 2 C tiers this week. I left behind the Arcanine and the Jugulis. The Arcanine was on the team for most of the prep, and then I took it off for
Gallade,
this Gallade. Yeah. I don't know if I love that decision. It was kind of a hasty decision. Like it probably was made less than 12 hours before the match.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Gallade just had good
I mean,
coverage from what I remember to hit everything, so it was like, if I can position this Gallade well, then I can kill things, which is the eternal Gallade conundrum.
Yeah, it's not fast. So I also had to kind of waste its item slot because I wanted to run Clear Amulet to make sure that you couldn't just switch the Tauros in.
Yeah, fair.
I think I probably just didn't. I don't think I needed the Glade this week. It ends up doing fine, I think, but
yeah.
I think that the Intimidate from Arcanine might have gone a little harder here, especially knowing in retrospect that this was a physical Aegislash.
Yeah.
But I think the reason I took off the Arcanine in the end of the day was I didn't expect the Tauros to come as much as I did the Comfey. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect the Pikachu to come, but the Tauros was not expected, and then I only thought that the physical offensive Pokemon were going to be Meowscarada and Garchomp, and I think that like Meowscarada is a little hard to pin down the typing, so I didn't even want to consider the Arcanine to be like the hardest of counters to the Meowscarada. And then Garchomp is obviously very scary and very bulky, and even if I ran Play Rough, there wasn't much I was going to do to hit it back, so it was feeling like a little rough to have Arcanine switch in on either of them.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
I get it. Sometimes it's just like, well, I don't love any of my last slots here, so I gotta pick something. So I think Gallade's fine. Arcanine might have been more helpful, but, you know, that's how it goes. Besides that, I mean, Ribombee and Jugulus are kind of just taking turns being the speed controllers, so this week it's Ribombee's turn. It makes sense.
I mean, I'm a little sad about Ribombee. I probably just should have clicked Tailwind when I had the chance, but I had some prep. Yeah, we'll get there. I was going to talk about the prep that I put into it, and then I thought about how it didn't pan out, so that just made me sad. But yeah, the rest of the team is just kind of running standard stuff. Nothing too funny about it, to be honest.
Okay. All right, then let's get started with the match then. And we have the slow speed. I feel like this one went faster. I don't know what happened last time. We've got Garchomp, Pikachu, Ribombee, Venusaur. They both Mega. This turn one's really funny. We have Fake Out into Shield Dust, which
I
does
technically
break...
forgot about Shield Dust, and then it didn't matter.
It breaks the Sash and dies anyway, and then the Rock Slide flinches, so it's effectively the same outcome. That is a really helpful Rock Slide flinch. Yeah, just because I assume
it's okay.
Pikachu dies there.
Well, it's Sash, so it wasn't going to die.
Okay.
But yeah, there was going to be some damage on the board. I don't think it was the most consequential flinch, but
yeah, I mean, Ribombee going down turn 1 is just kind of brutal because that's like your main form of speed control, and it's just gone immediately.
Yeah, and it had the opportunity to click Tailwind, and I think if I had clicked Tailwind, the match would have gone a lot better for me. But I
You didn't expect Rock Slide or what?
I didn't actually. I expected a little more of like a cautious turn 1 from the Garchomp. Like I thought maybe Moonblast threaten, like a double target into Chomp could have been rough.
Sure.
But and I also just one of those things where like Fake Out acted as just like a quick attack this turn, and the form it broke the Sash essentially.
You were just like, surely he doesn't Fake Out into my Shield Dust, and then he faked out into the Shield Dust.
Yeah, like I think in a world where Techno remembered Shield Dust and just meant to do that as a quick attack, that still would have been a great play.
For sure.
And it just worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm off on a little bit of a rough start, but by no means out.
Yeah, we're going to get to Follow Me, and the Scale Shot's going to give the speed boost. Malothe is going to heal back up to full, and Pikachu's going to go down. 45% on a crit. It is an Icy Wind, but it's just kind of funny. And that's going to take it back down to neutral speed here.
Yeah, it's got to get out of here because of that.
Goldengo comes in with the balloon.
Yep,
Meowscarada
that was my ground immunity.
And nice switch.
That was a really nice switch.
Aegislash. Just eating the Shadow Ball there.
I was looking for a King Shield and did not get one. So he instead gets a free Swords Dance. But because of the Swords Dance, I kind of figured what was coming next and made it what I think is a reasonable play. I
mean, you have to expect the Shadow Sneak, and that's just like, it's Swords Dance. It's probably going to have Shadow Sneak. It's like the tough thing about one of the tough things about Aegislash is like, if you do go for the Shadow Sneak, you better kill everything that threatens you when you have 50-50 defenses or whatever it is, because...
It's very funny to me. Like, Shadow Sneak, because it was telegraphed, I protected, and because it's priority, you lose all your defenses and then die. Like, if the turn order was different, it lives that Earth Power pretty easily, I think.
I mean, Tailwind was up, so it might have actually still been faster than Venusaur. But, I mean, if it was slower, then you might have you probably live the attack if you went for, like, Shadow Ball or something. But, yeah, I mean, good protect on your end. I do like that Techno immediately comments on Aegislash going down for me.
Juice will love this.
It's Christmas every morning because Aegislash always dies.
Anyway, well, it's gone, but then so does Goldengo. Just goes. This Meowscarada is scary. It's got a lot of good coverage, and they're all stab.
Yeah, Knockoff gonna take the leftovers and most of its life. Not even close.
Yeah, this Suicune is becoming a big problem though because it's very hard to kill, and my Kyurem is special.
Yeah.
So I knew at this point Gallade was like the only way I'm killing this Suicune,
Yeah,
and
makes
I'm just trying to
sense.
keep its chip in line so that Gallade can finish it.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice sack on
and
the... I mean, you didn't switch it in, but, like, you know, nice just protect stall so that you can get rid of Blastoise to get Gallade in safely. Flare Blitz doesn't quite pick it up, doesn't get the burn chance, so it's going to hang on there.
yeah, that's a really lucky live for me. I mean, I think the roll was, I don't remember whose favor it was in, but I just mean that like I was surprised that lived.
Yeah.
Gallade is so frail, and
Physically.
Tauros is pretty physically scary.
Yeah. Shout out to the 24 HP EVs on Gallade there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is a teaching moment for anyone who runs 252, 252. Like, if I speed creep what I think I need to speed creep, and then yeah, this case was 24 EVs of HP, and at 2%, it looks like 20 of those EVs mattered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you can spare some EVs, like you don't need all the speed because you're more than like 1 point faster, then you can always throw it in HP, and you might just get your own Phantom Sash. But
Here's another this is another
go for it.
another hot tip. Hover over the 55% under Sludge Bomb there. This
What,
is something
over
that
here?
like I didn't know until like no, don't highlight it, just hover your mouse.
Oh,
Maybe this only works in the game. Well, in the game, if you hover over percentages there, you see a pop-up that says the HP value lost. You can use that, put it in the calculator, and determine exactly the number of EVs that the opponent has put into HP. And while this is not always like a perfect way to do this, but like something that I like to do, and I think this is a good tip, is if you see how much HP EVs they put, and then you put the rest into something like attack, you can kind of guess exactly where their speed is.
you know, that's fair enough. I'm not doing all that. Not just because I'm
that
not
much
playing. It's not.
It's-
Dude, I just don't calc a lot of the time during my matches. I just like, well,
I say that, but like this season I haven't really been doing shit on the calculator. I used to do that though, and I used to win matches.
yeah. So anyway, what I'm hearing is anyone fighting Diggory in the future should run exactly like, 248 attack and put exactly 4 more points of speed in that he thinks you'll have based on your HP value, is what I'm getting.
Yep.
All right, good plan. Anyway, we can finally unpause and let Gallade die to the U-turn that started like 2 minutes ago. Goodbye,
I was just
Gallade.
trying to keep him around. He was doing well.
Yeah. Flare Blitz into the thick fat. Not going to do a ton, but the burn is going to start chipping it
The burn's
down.
nice. I don't think it mattered at all, but
Yeah,
kinda
and
nice.
now...
This is
we
a
are-
really exciting end game though.
Yeah, because
This
I
could have
think
gone either way.
a lot of people can kill a lot of people here. Because obviously...
Yeah, let's
Kyurem-
like,
Kyurem sees
look at
kills onto
this.
both, I assume, given the chance, right?
what is the speed order here?
Meowscarada, Kyurem, Garchomp, Venusaur, assuming, similar investment levels, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Meowscarada is still able to protein this turn.
Yep. I was not expecting what happened. I kind of assumed that Meowscarada was going to have to go for knockoff, and I thought, yeah, I'll live that. It's fine. So I go for a here. So here was my, I think, crucial misplay. There was, you can probably play this turn. I'll talk about it afterwards, actually.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we're gonna see the protect into that, into the Garchomp, and Play Rough is just gonna take the one-hit KO here, actually connecting. Good protect to keep Garchomp healthy.
Yep. And then it's Venusaur versus 2, and it's very unlikely this is gonna pan out my way.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
goodbye,
so-
Melith.
Just in a hasty, well, I think there were two hastinesses that kind of were my downfall. One, I didn't calc and didn't realize the band was on Meowscarada. It's kind of interesting, like Meowscarada's moves throughout this game, I think were like, there was a knockoff and then there was a U-turn. I don't think I ever had too much of an opportunity to see it like click the same move over and over again, and with Protean, if it had clicked it, I would have just assumed, cool, it's using its stab.
Right.
So without like actually thinking about it and running calcs. I just didn't think about the band as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, and because of not really just thinking about play rough, I never in a million years expected the Kyurem to just get O-code from the Meowscarada.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had thought about that more, I would have considered it to be more of a threat. But I think in my head, I was like, Venusaur can beat Meowscarada. I just have to kill the Garchomp. And so the Kyurem was targeting into the Meowscarada to sort of like to sort of hedge that the Garchomp was going to protect.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think that's what I was thinking at the time. And then the Venusaur probably should have just also targeted the Meowscarada. Because if think if it had done that with like a Sludge Bomb, I might have been able to win this with Giga Drain. I don't know, actually. The Stomping Tantrum did a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
But probably just the big misplay there was not recognizing the band.
I mean, I will say, even if you didn't recognize the band, if it was running low kick there, which is a move it does learn, that has a chance of killing on its own without a boosting item, even with a plus speed nature. So even
I
without
wasn't
the
thinking
band,
about low kick either.
yeah. I mean, this thing doesn't have low kick this week, I think, but you could have died there regardless. So
Yeah, just poor threat assessment on my part. Although, you know, I think both of these are pretty valid threats, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a read. You got the read wrong. That's the game, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it
No,
was
but
it was really close. I think that was like on both sides. Neither of us were sure who's going to win that, and I think at least I thought I was going to win. I thought I was in more of the driver's seat than I was, and then suddenly the game was over for me.
yeah, I think the turn one, similar to what happened in the first game we looked at. I mean, the turn one was hard to recover from, and you did start to, but between the Suicune making a case for the Bastion nomination this year just by never dying, and the last
Venusaur
turn,
also
couple
just
turns
sat
of
there.
reads. Yeah, I think it
Venusaur
makes
and Suicune
sense.
both sat there. I think the entire game.
For sure.
Suicune wasn't there from the start, but
Yeah.
much harder to kill than Venusaur. I think Venusaur just didn't get targeted a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think it was a really cool game on the whole. I just wanted to cover it because I thought there were some really two specifically interesting turns and some other stuff in between. So
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
that's it for me. If you have anything else, go for it.
no, technically played really well. This was he broke the curse. This is his first win against me, and I'm very happy for him.
Historically,
Historically, at
Damn.
least in a regular season.
Nice.
So that's really nice. And I think some of the other games that I had won, he got a little robbed. So I'm happy to see that like he won this, and he's having a really good season. So
Yeah, for sure. All right, game 3 then.
yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So we're on to our third game of the week. Jovial Fakeout versus Neighbearhood Watch, or W period, excuse
You
me.
did it. Wait, no, it's Neighbearhoof.
Neighbearhood.
It up
Oh
last
my
week.
god. I think I got it wrong too. Okay, that's fine. Well, it's in the video now. So we have Burnt's top 6. I mean, usually we like to comment on what's missing. No one's missing. Everyone's here. What do you think?
This is, I mean, the very first time Pheasantipides come. So
True.
it's usually a Scavalier or Wartortle instead.
Mm-hmm.
So we can pretend like those are the B tiers. And why did Burnt leave those? I know why. It's because I don't know. It's just Pheasantipides cool. What else do you want?
I think.
No, I mean, it's a really good answer to Zamazenta. Is probably the reason it's quad resist to fighting.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things it could have done. Like, it doesn't do this game, but Ned's team is pretty bulky, and you could very easily run, like, Icy Wind's Toxic Chain and just start, you know, toxicing things for chip or whatever. So,
Yep.
there's a lot it can do. It's also just, like, it's a Tailwind setter. Like, you're not going to complain about that, you know?
Can you imagine if they gave Salazzle Toxic Chain?
I would be scared. Off of
Just
Fakeout?
Wouldn't that just be cool for it? It wouldn't have to be stuck with Corrosion. I don't know why I started talking about Salazzle.
That's okay.
Burnt's got some scary Pokemon in the top 6. You have the Pokemon that benefit from Psychic Terrain here are as follows: Indeedee, Spectrier, Hawlucha, Armarouge, and to a sort of mixed extent, I would even go so far as to say Urshifu does.
So in other words, the Pokemon on the Psychic Terrain team benefits from Psychic Terrain?
everyone except Pheasantipity. Pheasantipity is a little scared because now it's Psychic Weak and it's grounded.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
So
I get that. Halucha in here kind of has a diabolical matchup. I mean, it hits, I mean, just off of stabs alone, it hits Zamazenta, it hits Garganackle, it hits Sinistra, who's not here. It hits Excelgor and can outspeed it unless it matches with Unburden. And it hits some of the C
wouldn't
tier
it,
as
though?
well.
I think Excelgor would usually match with Unburden.
No, I'm saying unless Excelgor matches the Unburden, it hits and outspeeds it. So Excelgor is either forced to Psychic Seed or be slower, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could also like Sash to like outspeed it after it's gotten hit, but that's definitely less reliable.
Yeah, I'm just saying like it has a pretty good matchup here, and you know, Bear's pretty good
scary.
here. Spectrier Ghost is pretty good. The Purifying Salt Garganackle helping out with the Ghost typing defensively though. So, looking
that's the
over
ability, not the move, right?
Oh yes, Purifying Salt is the ability.
Okay.
Salt Cure.
What's the move called? Salt Cure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salt Cure is interesting. We don't see any Steel or Water types show up on Burn's team.
We don't,
Salt
but
Cure
it's still like a nice
reasonable chip.
Yeah, it's like a nice like end game situation type move. And if you just don't have if you don't want to invest into physical bulk, the damage will add up pretty quickly, which is nice.
Yeah.
Looking over
two
on
wide guard
Ned's
potential
side.
users
Oh, yeah.
on Ned's side. I think Zamazenta gets it. I know that it's like big in VGC, so I'm going to assume that it does.
It loves cyclic wide guard, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
and then Garganackle.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, at least I got like kind of the foot in the door for this team just because Ned was kind of busy. And I was kind of trying to look at this and I was like, this sucks. It was a little hard to find a way to just deal with the top 6. I was barely thinking about the C tier because I was pretty sure it was just going to be top 6. So I just kind of was like, here's some Pokemon that will probably help you with a couple moves. The rest is up to you. Godspeed. But
yeah, I like a lot of the brings individually. It just feels like there's still a lot that needs to get done. Like the Jolteon is nice because it's very quick and it can, while it's not like outspeeding Halucha under Unburden, it can threaten like speed control onto it and also threaten direct damage onto it. The Persian is here to I guess just be immune to Psychic. It resists the Ghost. It can threaten foul plays out. It can do icy wind stuff. Like all of these Pokemon individually seem really fine. It's just like collectively you look and then you're like, well, are these guys really going to pull off all that gesturing towards Urshifu, Spectrier, or Armarouge?
I think the weight falls on Blastoise a lot here because Mega Launcher, Dark Pulse, plus, you know, just like Water's Pulse for coverage is pretty strong here. So I think a lot of it just comes down to Blastoise because this is the one thing that has like a phenomenal matchup here. So
it's funny. It's a shame. Like Mega Launcher Terrain Pulse is one of the highest base power moves I've ever seen on Showdown, but it's just not good here.
Yeah, I mean, the Psychic Terrain team doesn't want to be weak to Psychic, but
there actually are 2 Psychic weaknesses now that I think about it. But
true.
Yeah,
you have to live to use them. But yeah, I get you. Well, yeah. I think that's it for team preview.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. Play with sound off. So, we're presumably seeing Indeedee in the lead. I don't actually remember, but Garganackle Persian. One of the other things with Ned's team here is that there's a little bit low on the DPS, so we have to be careful here. We don't see Psychic Terrain lead. We're going to U-turn ourself for weak armor.
Also, very notable Scarf, because that went before Persian.
Yeah, true. The Scarf right off the bat, good catch. But yeah, the Heat Wave, not quite going to pick up Persian.
I think a big part of this match is noticing choice items. And I say that as somebody who lost my match.
Who missed a choice item.
Who missed, yeah. So, not judgmentally, but I think, like, recognizing the choice items is a huge part of this match.
Really nice eject button tech to just literally Indeedee comes in after getting U-turned out with the self-setup Armor Rogue setup, and then immediately leaves again. It's turn one,
and we've seen 4 Pokemon from Burnt. Burnt, come on, guy.
He's revealing his whole team, you fool. Salt Cure gonna come out, gonna deal good damage. Wide Guard here.
Wide Guard.
He's gonna not eat the Tailwind. It's going to eat the Heat Wave, though, which would have killed Persian. So Persian gets to live another day. To get another Icy Wind off. Now it is faster than the Armorogue for sure.
Yep.
And it might be faster than Halucha. I'm not sure.
I don't think it is, but it could be, because that is unburdened.
It's not. It's going to live the close combat, which is big.
That's a big live, yeah.
Yeah, which is really helpful. Parting
Halucha
Shot
tends to need a Swords Dance to do reasonable damage.
Yeah, Garganacl is also just really strong.
Very
Iron
physically
Defense
strong, yeah.
here at really low HP, so it's going to be hard to get value out of that. Jolteon's burns again. It's Quick Feet again. You know how it is. Jolteon's dead.
That crit probably mattered, right?
I
I don't know. Maybe not. Based off the damage to the Garg, but the Garg is much physically... Like, it's bulkier, but it's also not weak to it. I don't know.
It's possible, yeah.
I was sitting here thinking, like, this is really cool. Garganacl's at, 2 times defense. Does Ned have any heal pulsers? I completely forgot that Garganacl just heals itself up when I was watching this live.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, at low HP, you sort of don't think you'll get the recover off, but today we do.
Do you think that Burnt should have targeted Garg instead of the Jolteon?
I think he was expecting Halucha to go down this turn, so he just wanted to get rid of something while he could. I get getting rid of the Jolteon. I would have been scared of a Protect there, because Garganacl probably doesn't have Protect, and Wide Guard is really good into your team, so I would want Garganacl dead personally. But
and I know Burnt is doing good prep and is smarter than I am, and probably knew about the recover, even if I forgot about it. So the threat of recover and continued wide guards with now like more defense could have been scary. Would have been a nice target, I think. But Jolteon's down, which means that like you have a lot of the speed control still.
For what it's worth, that crit saved you from... The crit made it not a 12% chance to KO, so it did actually matter there a little bit, but...
Bummer.
That's calculated on the side, but that's how it is. Blastoise is going to come out here as Tailwind is about to expire. We've got one more turn of it. Ally switch to try to keep this thing safe, and we're going to taunt the Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise is not messing around. He is here to take kills. He wants blood.
Why does Halucha get Ally Switch? It's such a weird move for it to get.
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually thought until now that the taunt came from the Halucha, and that like genuinely that the Ally Switch came from the Spectre. That would have made much more sense to me, just as far as like move pools go.
Yeah.
Because like he's like a wrestler, like they taunt each other. I don't know. I've never watched wrestling.
I mean, it probably has the move, but yeah, no, it's clicking Ally Switch here. But Halucha going down is a pretty big deal for Ned, just because it's a big threat. And Psychic Terrain is also down. We're gonna see the Acid Spray to double the damage into this.
Acid Spray, because once again, move before Spectre.
Another Spit F drop, but Water Pulse just gonna do a little bit. Could have targeted the horse there for a potential kill.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that would probably have been the better play? I think it might have been.
I'm probably afraid of a Protect there.
Yeah.
The horse protecting. It was like gonna protect or switch. Might have been reading an Urshifu switch in there, but
I do really like this Pheasantipity set. It is Technician Acid Spray for like the little extra damage, but also just Scarfed Acid Spray in general. And we also saw the Scarf U-turn to allow the very fast weak armor proc. Like pretty cool, very creative. I like it.
No, this is a wild set, so no, definitely a good shout out there. I like the set. But Acid Spray not going to kill, which is actually kind of a crazy live because it means that Spectre is going to get the Grim Nay boost here.
Yeah,
It lived on 2 from the Acid Spray itself, so...
Both things are salt cured and taking 10%,
damage.
12% a turn?
Yeah, 12% or so. Zamazenta coming in. Here comes Psychic Terrain. And Crunch just going to take out the horse before it gets to use that Grim Nay.
Yep.
And another Salt Cure.
I keep thinking that's Foul Play because I think it's the same animation, but it's just another Salt Cure.
Yeah, this Garganacl has been on the field pretty much all game. And it's going to Wide Guard. And it's... Crunch, it's going to live on 1, which is tough. But it's going to eat the Expanding Force. And it's going to eat the other Expanding Force. So that is ridiculous Expanding Force value. And Salt Cure is going to get the KO.
Yep.
So it actually, the roll didn't matter.
The roll didn't matter at all. But yeah, really awesome Wide Guard. Probably would have clicked it again, but,
It has a fail chance after one set. Or no, not
It
anymore.
doesn't. It doesn't.
I forgot they changed it.
Yeah. Maybe just expecting that Armourouge to die. I kind of did. But,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
didn't.
Real talk. Zamazenta just took an Expanding Force in Psychic Terrain with 3% to spare while being weak to it. This Pokemon
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
That's a Specs Expanding Force.
Is it Specs? I'm glad I'm not playing this season, so I don't have to fight this stupid Zamazenta.
That was going to be my second note about recognizing choice items. Again, with the grain of salt that I'm not doing this, so this is really hypocritical of me. But if you recognized that is a Specs, then you would have expected the lock into Expanding Force, and maybe another Wide Guard could have come out. I don't know. Maybe I again also would have thought that Crunch would have killed, so it could have just been just mistaken assumptions there as well.
Yeah, that's
generally just like tough call at the time. Hindsight makes it feel like I'm able to say what should have happened, but
the Zamazenta is like not super attack invested this game. It's much more bulk, which lets it survive this turn for sure. But yeah. Was the grain of salt a pun, or is just Garganackle just chilling here?
It really wasn't. No, I'm way too tired to make puns right now.
That's fair enough. Okay, well, goodbye, Garganackle.
Yeah, bye-bye. You did well.
Yeah, Zamazenta's going to live on 3. Unfortunately, it can't really do much about this. Excelgor is going to live on the Sash.
On the Sash, yeah.
But it's not going to matter too much.
Acid Spray does damage, so... Now it's just Persian versus the world. Very close. I don't know if Persians bring this back. Sorry to prematurely say.
Well,
very close
it's gonna take a KO on the way out because of the choice lock, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, Burnt messaged me after the fact, a little upset that he didn't save the diff when he could have.
Yeah, but, I was gonna say, but
I told him it is what it is.
With the Scarf gonna take its last KO of the game, and that's it. Pretty good game. What do you think was the deciding turn or moment for this game?
I, without having looked into it that much, think it was that second Expanding Force coming out from Armourouge.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like, there were a million things that could have gone over that turn.
This is a complicated game.
It could have been like, you recognize the Scar or the choice specs are there, you think because it's specs locked, it's gonna switch out, so you don't click Wide Guard again there. I mean, there's a million things, but I do think that probably was the turn ender or the game ender.
Yeah, for sure. I think really just if you had a way to, maybe you Wide Guard again, but if you could just get Garganackle a little bit further into this game, I mean, Urshifu can hit it.
I think Urshifu clears it.
Urshifu is not running a fighting type move this week.
Oh, well then I guess it would have probably cleared Urshifu.
And I mean, you're relying on like it's +1 Spit F, +2 defense. So
but Wicked Blow breaks through the defense drops.
It does.
It breaks through any protect.
Wicked Blow will, but you know, you can protect, you can recover, so it would have been closer, right?
It would have been closer, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was close. Like, it was a really close game.
For sure.
2-0, and Pheasantipity was not going to end this game. So as long as, like, I feel like if Urshifu, if anything was there to kill Urshifu, Ned could have won this.
Yeah, for sure. But just good game on the whole. I think, you know, just a couple things in there, but probably the last time that has to fight Psychic Terrain for a little bit, at least dedicated Psychic Terrain, because I think they fought it 3 weeks in a row now.
Timer Ball is rough. Timer Ball is, everything is either weather or Psychic Terrain, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, if that's how it feels, at least that's how my schedule's been. And I haven't gotten to any of the Psychic Terrains yet.
There's rain, there's sun, there's 2 Psychic Terrains. It's tough out here. But
yeah.
All right, next game?
Yeah, next game. We got one more.
Cool. And we're on to our last game of the week. This is Delfino versus Diaper Offense. I know the capitalization is wrong on the word diaper, and I do not care. Between this team and some of the teams with accents in their name, typing these out in the spreadsheet and on the weekly message is a pain, so you will simply have your team wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to type it down to the spreadsheet anymore. I think all the team name stuff is automated, but still, yeah, you get this. This is what you get.
Yeah. Anyway,
we have our last match of the week. Let's talk about the teams.
So, if you want to talk about Meteor's team here, we're dropping an A tier and a B tier to pick up a Wordier and the bird. Why am I
Yep,
blanking
it's
on
Volcarona
Archaeopus.
and Mega Sceptile that are missing.
Mhm.
I do understand this, mostly because I understand why the C tiers came. I do think Volcarona would have been fine here. You do sort of counter. I think you counter the Sneasler to an extent. That thing does not want to hit you and get flame bodied. It's gonna resist the fighting move. It does not resist Dire Claw, but yeah. And then you can also threaten like Bug. I was gonna say Bug Buzz is super effective against Tapu Lele, but I forgot that Fairy just kind of gets to resist Bug for no reason, so
Yeah.
never mind. I get the Volcarona not coming, and like Landorus can run like a rock move pretty easily. It's fine. I would say that like normally you wouldn't want to run it next to the rain with Dondozo on the field, but this Politoed is not rain.
No,
Politoed
it is
is
not.
a water absorb.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I
if
think
it
it's
actually
basically
comes
just
up, but
anti-Dozo Toad.
yeah, anti-Dozogiri tech. The Wordier here makes a lot of sense. It's like anti-psychic terrain stuff. It's got the resist. It's, not weak to Shadow Ball, which would probably be the coverage move to hit psychic types typically. And
Yep.
it can Expanding Force back. And unlike Burnt's team, like we just saw, this team does not have the same amount of defense against opposing size spam. So Wordier makes a lot of sense here. The Archeops feels like Tailwind plus Sneasler, It's just to do those two things, deal with Sneasler and set up Tailwind, but over Volcarona, it's a toss-up. It depends how scared of, I guess, some things you are.
Yeah, I mean, what would you have brought instead? Because let's see, we have the two we mentioned, the Sceptile and the Volcarona. We have Magneton, Florges. That's it.
Magneton has a
you were
bad
very
time here, I feel like.
Yeah, Magneton's not loving it. It doesn't really threaten too much offensively. I
Yeah.
guess like it does hit the Dozo pretty well, but
And Lele.
it resists Psychic. But I don't think the Psychic Terrain team is very much about the Psychic offense as much as Burns is.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. And then we have Florges, which is a good special wall, but honestly, Landorus with Sludge Bomb probably 2-hit KOs it
Yeah.
pretty well.
For sure.
And there's a lot of physical offense on this team as well. So
yeah.
I get it, yeah.
With the Mons that Hoser brought, given that the Silvally we will see is Electric Silvally, Magneton does kind of ruin this team's day. Like,
oh, does it? I mean,
it resists
just
Silvally.
the Landorus is scary.
Besides Landorus, and I mean, if you can find a way to, live a close combat, I mean, it deals with Lele, it resists the,
it's got a decent matchup, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
good defensively.
It's just those two.
But I mean, I wouldn't have brought it because I would not have necessarily been like, I will bring this Pokemon, gambling that they will bring Silvally Electric. But Volcarona could have come. I think Archeops is fine. We'll talk about the set when it comes up. But looking over on Hoser's side, we have top 6. We have Dondozo and Tatsugiri. They have both come to the game.
That's true.
It.
Once again.
They're both here together. They are best of friends. Not too much to say. Like we said, Silvally's Terra Electric makes a lot of sense. I think you will either want Electric or Grass, not just, for the water resist, but also you can resist the Iron Hands Electric moves. You can do a couple things, and I think, you could have used Grass to, deal with Rage Powder Volcarona, but Electric is just a bit better offensively into this team. So I think either one could have worked.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Not too much to say on that because we'll see it as the sets get revealed. So I guess we can get started here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Game on hold until Quick Ball finishes. Thank you guys for pausing. I was not watching them live, but I appreciate it.
I think they even waited to post the link because I think the link happened right afterwards.
We're going to see the leads come out, and we're going to see Palafin switch out as Tatsugiri comes in. And we're going to see another switch as the U-turn only does about 30% to the Wordier, which is kind of surprising. And we have Psychic Seed Iron Hands as Trick Room goes up. So, notably, no Assault Vest, which means if this Iron Hand switches out, it's not going to keep the Speed F boost, but it's free to run some other moves. we're seeing Dondozo switch in, and something has not happened here this turn.
Yeah, that's very curious. He said he ate Mario. I don't think he ate anything.
He did not eat anything. Expanding Force not going to kill either one, as Heavy Slam not going to kill. Tatsugiri is free to act independently here, as it was not forced to jump in the mouth, and just picks up the KO on Word Ear. This is a Storm Drain
very special
Tatsugiri.
things happening.
Yeah.
The Storm Drain is definitely here for the Palafin and for the Politoad.
Yeah.
Why is the Dozo here? Is that just a bait?
He genuinely told me that the play was that, number one, he didn't like his other options too much into this team, so he
We
figured
didn't talk
he
about
could
them
get...
too much. Like, what were his other options?
Let me pull them up.
Galvantula, Typhlosion, Hoopa, Jumpluff.
Yeah, like Galvantula could have been fine.
Definitely.
Typhlosion has a bad time. Hoopa, there's a lot of answers to it, I think, and Jumpluff
I mean,
arguably.
The Silvally Electric is here as electric, presumably because Galvantula isn't.
Yeah, so you're already bringing one of the two. You probably don't need both.
Yeah.
So between the other three, I get bringing Dozo, but yeah, he genuinely said it was just to bait, just to make sure that it's, not immediately revealed that it's Storm Drain. The Storm Drain doesn't end up mattering too much here, but Tatsugiri just having the chance to act on its own is getting Hoser a KO already, which is pretty valuable.
I think, yeah, I mean, the mind games on it also work it out pretty well. Like, because the Dozo is there, Steven has to basically not target the Tatsugiri or risk having nothing happen.
It's just a free miss. Like, yeah, for anyone unaware, attacks sent into Tatsugiri on the turn they combine don't redirect, they just fully miss, which is tough mind games. That's part of the strength of Hoser's team, is this B tier just is kind of unpredictable, whether, Dozogiri comes or whether they don't, what type Silvally's going to be, so it's just a lot to cover for.
Yeah, the whole B tier, that's a good point. I was thinking you just meant the Dozogiri, but really Silvally is lumped in there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And this Silvally set's also pretty interesting. I don't know if we see too much of it. Well, here it is, so prove me wrong.
It's here. It's yellow looking.
Yep.
There's like the same yellow between the shiny Dozo.
Really good yawn, by the way, because since it's not Assault Vest, it's going to go down for it. But now Steven has to choose between losing the Spit F boost for the rest of the game or falling asleep. And given we're in front of Landorus, yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Landorus just protects anyway. Ice Beam actually probably might have just killed it. I don't know the calc. Nice Wakan
So Wakan Berry
for this Water Absorb Politoad, as Tatsugiri comes in to save Landorus for later in the game, presumably. I assume this is just a sack, which makes a lot of sense.
I get all the other Star Wars nicknames. I don't get Politoads.
I don't know Star Wars, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I don't think Steven does either. I'd be surprised. I don't know where he got these.
Yeah, fair enough. Ice Beam not going to kill there, despite being neutral. Flamethrower, not going to do a ton, but it's going to activate the eject button and bring Palafin back in. Why is eject button here?
I will say two things. One, it's Yoda, not Toda. That's the whole joke. I just realized it. B, I said 1 and B.
Yeah.
1 and 2. 2, I don't like the eject button. I mean, I guess it's like you suggested that maybe it was there because the thing can set up Tailwind and then get out.
And then probably bring Palafin in once it's swapped out.
Bring something else in. It also allows it to use acrobatics because its item's gone. All that's very well and good, but that really requires the hit that it sent it out on to be a weak hit. And if it's not that, then we have Defeatist procced, and it might as well be a dead Pokemon. Like, it's able to set Tailwind again, that's about it.
It's possible he thought this was going to be more of a lead than a later game Pokemon, and then looking at what Hoser brought, maybe he wanted to lead it in front of, like, some specific Pokemon, and didn't end up leading, and then the item just coming back to bite him. But yeah, eject button's something you got to be careful with, so it's just tough that it kind of backfires here.
It also, I mean, it's worth saying that this Pokemon does get Roost, and you could potentially come back from a Defeatist proc where you're back above full health. I just think that unless there was a very specific reason for the eject button, there's a couple other items I think would have been better there.
Okay.
But leave in the comments, Steven. Please, you're way better at this game than I am, and I want to hear what you think.
I just want the engagement.
I mean, that's secretly what I wanted, but I'm baiting them in with flattery.
Okay.
Let me do my thing. I'm
Uh,
marketing.
Notably, Icy Wind and multi-attack going, or Icy Wind going before the Palafin here. So we see that is definitely a Scarf Tatsugiri. It's going to take the KO as both Pokemon very low on HP here.
Can you imagine if it was still Toxic Orb after all that?
Oh my, I would have lost it. We would not be covering this game if it was Toxic Orb.
No, we wouldn't be. It would have not performed because that's a bad item.
True.
Instead, it's doing things.
Yeah, Earth Power going to take the KO. Finally, saving Tatsugiri for later in the game, so Hoser seems to think it still has some value left in it.
Also,
and
just really good.
Yeah, just a good switch on the Bullet Punch to, stay alive.
I'm sure that was in the back of Steven's head, like as a possibility. But with these kind of things, it's always about just like, well, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? Do you get the read right? In this case, he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative was like Tatsugiri. I don't know if he probably realized. Actually, it depends on how fast his. I don't think his Palafin was high speed, so he might not have realized it was Scarf yet. Depends on the other turns. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think the Palafin was a little bulkier. It lived that Electro Shot, or not Electro Shot. What's it called?
I don't think it had speed.
Multi-attack.
Yeah, so I don't think it had much speed this game. So it's possible he just didn't realize it was Scarf. But yeah, I mean, the worst thing that happens is it Icy wins and hits Archeops here. But that's how it goes. Real quick on the Palafin. Actually, we might see it. I don't think we will. I'll save it for later. Here comes Iron Hands with no Spit F boost. This guy is mortified of being in front of these two Pokemon. And we see Hoser's signature Future Sight as Defog removes the Psychic Terrain. So good tech.
Yeah, very good tech. Allows the Bullet Punch to get a kill, but that's a pretty okay kill because you've stacked the Tatsugiri.
Yeah, that was a good stack, 2%. I think.
Yeah, and now your Psychic Terrain is back up.
Yeah. Phenomenal tech here. Flying types not protected by the Psychic Terrain, so doubling up with priority moves into the Flying type Landorus just to take it out.
Yeah.
And Future Sight.
There's the Future Sight.
Going to kill. I just want to call out. That is Choice Specs Future Sight.
Oh. Wow.
Apparently it kills his entire team, but that is diabolical. That is
Choice
252
Future
special
Sight.
attack. Modest Future Sight with Choice Specs in Psychic Terrain.
Do you think it kills Wordier?
I don't think it. I don't know. It probably doesn't. He probably wasn't thinking about Wordier too much, but I mean, it did 70 to Sneasler, or not Sneasler, to Scizor.
Oh, I should hope so. Yeah. Well, the Scizor is also a Scizor with very bad special defense. That part didn't surprise me.
I mean, yeah, but
no. I mean, that's certainly a wall break nuke.
Yeah,
option.
if you want a way out, that's how you do it. But yeah. And we're just going to pick up the KO on the last turn as Sneasler finally makes her appearance.
Sneasler, I think this is not the first time it's run a low sweep. Why do you think Hoser likes low sweep so much?
I think there's two answers. Number one, it's just really fast speed control, because low sweep drops speed by 1 stage. So it might just be like a quick, pseudo Icy Winds that also covers fighting types, so I'm not sure what you'd be hitting with fighting type coverage this game. Actually,
that's true.
Forgot.
I guess, yeah, if you don't want the close combat, which I think close combat is generally just like a very good stab option.
It's your best into Scizor here.
Yeah.
This is like a utility Sneasler this week, I will say, it looks like, without getting too
I think
specific.
It has been most weeks, at least that I've been paying attention.
Which is, I mean, interesting. I mean, it's not bad at it. I mean, it gets a decent supporting move pool. So, it didn't get to do too much this game.
Also a little bit yellow with a shiny. How many of Hoser's Pokemon have that property?
Dondozo's yellow.
I guess the Silvalley's not shiny, but
yeah, but there's a lot of yellow.
It's like it's an extra color on the Silvalley due to its memory.
You're right, but yeah, we've got a lot of yellow this game. But yeah, Sneasl's gonna clean up the game, and that's it. I mean, I think that game was pretty back and forth. I think, or not necessarily back and forth, but it was pretty close. I think, just some good pivots. I think Tatsugiri really carried this match for Hoser.
You think so? Yeah.
I
I,
think
I, I believe it did a lot of work.
the Icy Winds, the Draco kill. I mean, it killed with Draco thanks to the not
Even
commander
just staying
ability.
alive at
Yeah,
2% to be a
I was
sack
gonna
so that you
say.
can bring back the psychic terrain was really
Yeah,
nice.
after the defog, just coming back
I have
in.
a
I
question.
think. Yeah, what's up?
If you fire off a future sight while psychic terrain is up, and then psychic terrain goes down, is it boosted by terrain when it hits, or is
I
that like
assume when it hits, not when the ability, not when the move is used. But
okay?
that's my guess. But yeah,
I
I
would
think
assume, but like, would you assume the same thing about like, let's say the knockoff went into it and it lost the specs? I would still think the specs would apply to the use, right?
ooh,
Terrain
oh,
is
I
weird.
guess
Terrain is,
I guess it's because it's like the move is used and then it hits. I don't know. Put it in the comments.
yeah, someone else do the work.
Hoser, if you knew that interaction, I respect that. Because I don't.
And if you didn't, then you weren't prepared enough.
That's true. I mean, it worked, so whatever, but yeah, no, I think on the whole, I think the eject button was tough. I think the rest of Meteor's team was pretty good and pretty well played. I just think between that and just Tatsugiri jump scare and putting in so much work this game with the Icy Wind, with the Draco, with the sack, I think it was hard, so.
Yep. Yeah, we
Just
gotta
well
hand
played.
it to him. We gave Tatsugiri a rough time, I think, the first time we covered the match, so it came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is literally the reason I don't like Toxic Orb, is because obviously part of the reason it could do this is because it wasn't in Dozo's mouth for half the game, but look at what this Pokemon can do just on its own, and it didn't even Storm Drain. You know, that pressure was on it the whole time. So,
Yep.
good Pokemon. What can I say? I love Tatsugiri.
I don't feel strongly about it either way, but I'm happy that that like it just did something.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Pokemon do things.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think that's it for this game then. I'll stop glazing Tatsugiri by itself.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right.
let's head to the
Let's wrap
outro.
it up. Sounds good. So that's our week 4. Like we said, really good set of matches, including some we couldn't cover. This season has been really tight so far.
Yeah, I think and across both our divisions, there's just a very close spread. We have one undefeated player to this point, Kotard from Quickball. Everybody else has taken at least one loss, and I think like on both Timer and Quick, the playoff spots, there's no clear cut dividing line between who's in contention and who's out. I think everybody's still fair game.
Yeah, at least historically for the seasons I've been here for, at this point it felt like I could kind of see some teams like really rising to top, and I was like, okay, this might be like top 1 or 2 in the division, but I have no idea who's going to playoffs this season, and that's really cool to me. I think the teams are all super strong this year, and I don't know, it's super exciting to watch. It's been super fun to cover, so I'm excited to see where this goes from here.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some heartbreak at the end of the season. We'll have some very close like cutoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
For playoff spots.
It'll be tough, so keep fighting for it. But I'm really happy with how the season's gone. So good job, everyone. Unironically, very cool teams and games. But
absolutely.
I think that's it for the episode, though we're still stuck here.
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to get home. We wanted to get back to find a studio to get some, good content for everyone else. But nope, we're crash landed. I think I need to fix the ship's sci-fi thingy, that makes it go.
The thing that makes it go. You're not fixing anything. I'm done letting you.
So I can't drive or
fix?
Ship.
No, because next
right.
week the title's gonna be Diggory License to Fix Revoked.
It's gonna be Diggory Passenger Princess.
Well, that's out of the way. We don't have to do that for next week anymore. Now we know.
I'll make the slide. Anyway, let's go behind that door. Let's see if there's any like repair
Parts.
supplies behind that.
Yeah, that seems safe and healthy and not like it'll get us killed. That's fine.
Yeah, so we'll try that. We'll get back to you guys about that next week from behind the door.
Yeah, we'll see you for season 5 behind the very safe and normal door.
Season 5.
Season 5, week 5. I'm throwing.
Yeah, it's after midnight. Give us a break. All right.
That's okay. All right, we'll see you guys for week 5.
Week 5.
Yep.
That's the midway point.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, see ya.
Bye.